So a masterclass in marketing. But before I want to start, I want to give you a quick overview on what Spinnin Records actually is and what kind of music we've released over the past few years. So here we go.
Never heard of those tracks.
Never, right?
No.
Completely new. At least it gives you a good idea of what we stand for. But let's dive in. How important is marketing? It's kind of preaching for my own good, but it is true. If you don't do nothing, then nothing actually happens. So the Spinnin marketing department therefore entails over 35 people. So it's quite a big bunch. We have a head of marketing, head of promo, head of creative, head of digital, and we have team international because we have teams based in the US, UK, and China, which brings a lot of new energy into the company as a whole. And we are now able to actually penetrate those markets with the local knowledge. So that's a big plus for us. So diving into the process. It all starts with A&R, and it all starts with good music, obviously, which has actually been our slogan for the past few years. So they sign, then the supporting departments sort of lay the foundation, as we call it. So we have the legal team who actually make sure that the contracts are in place. We have the distribution team that actually makes sure that the tracks are up on all the different platforms. And once that happens, my team comes in, and it's a bit maybe cocky to say that we create a success. But again, if you have good music and you don't do anything with it, literally nothing will happen. So that marketing part is a huge part of the overall rollout. So we define the strategy to create that actual hit. But I must say we can't do that with just the marketing department. It's literally Spinnin as a whole. Everybody contributes to the success in the end. And now we are over 80 people, so it's quite a big bunch. So the main roles of marketing, what we do is that we create a story to tell. A lot of artists have a great track, and it's just a great track, and they don't have much of a background, of a backstory to tell. Then it's up to me and the rest of my team to make sure that we have something to tell. Because on all the platforms, over 50,000 tracks a day are released. So you need to make sure that you actually stand out and have something to tell them. So once we have that story, then we convert that story to a full-blown marketing plan, which entails all of the departments. We implement, we execute, and then the most important part comes because that's communication. And that's communication between the different departments, but it's also communication with the artists. Because in the end, we are there to service them, and they need to be happy and satisfied. And we can't always guarantee the success in the end. I wish we could deliver everyone a hit, but at least we want to show that we've done everything in our power to make it happen together with them. And that also includes a little bit of reporting, which is not the fun part. I will not talk about it too much, but it is super, super important. In the end, we need to create hit singles and artist brands, because you don't want to be a one-day fly. You want to be an established artist in the end. But how? I think it starts with keeping your goals in mind. If we look at Spinnin, we release over 20 tracks each week, which is a lot. And I can't ask my team to deliver a big hit on streaming for all of them. That's just not realistic. So we set goals. Do we want to be big on radio? Do we want to be big on streaming? Preferably, I have all of the above, but again, not realistic. We also bring out a lot of club music. So Beatport is still super important. Whatever happens on the live stage is super important. We want all of our music to be heard on Ultra Music Festival in Miami, for example. So they're all separate layers within the whole goal setting, so to say. And most important, keep your target audience in mind. The budgets are quite small, and we can't sort of conquer the world all at once. So you need to start somewhere, and that's the reason that you really have to focus and keep that specific audience on top of your mind. For Spinnin, that's definitely the Gen Z audience, maybe even Gen A already. So the younger group, so to say, 13 between 25, I would say, the people that actually go out, go to all the clubs. And they consume music in a completely different way than millennials do, as I am. So they convert sort of music through short form video. So social media obviously is the lifeline within our marketing department, that's for sure. That's the reason why I said power to short form video. YouTube Shorts and TikTok being at the absolute forefront at the moment, together with Instagram Reels, I would say. What we also see happening is decentralization, is what we call it. So we used to have these huge global superstars, but we are now in a situation that we need to conquer territory by territory. At Spinnin, we see often that we have a big hit in France or in Germany, for example, and we want to convert that story to Belgium and then to the Nordics. So it's not really about sort of splashing into the world and hope that it sticks, but we really sort of track country by country. And from top down to bottom up, I think we used to be in a situation where radio, for example, was a huge driver. So they sort of decided what everybody needed to listen to. Now it's the other way around. The audience decides what's actually happening, with social media again being at the forefront of that. So our approach, I will not take too much of a deep dive, but marketing consists out of the design and the video team. So we create our own artwork, we create all of our own music videos. Data, again, I wouldn't take too much of a deep dive, but it's literally the foundation of everything that we do. Our relationship with the DSPs, we are able to talk to Spotify. That's a big plus. Again, with 50,000 track, that's our release each day. You need to have some sort of relationship to stand out. Same goes for radio, press, social media. We'll talk about that later on. Advertising, brand partnerships, and live. Well, this is a good example. Things, us working together with WMG, we are part of Warner Music Group, who are one of the big three. So you have Sony, you have Universal, you have Warner, and we are part of Warner. And we have a strong network throughout the whole world. So we talk to all the local affiliates to make sure that we also can make use of their resources, which is a huge, huge advantage. And Web3 being at the forefront of that as well. So data, can't stress this enough. It's the foundation of the marketing plan. Without doing your survey and sort of see where you're currently at, and you just push it out there, I can guarantee you not much will happen. You need to know what your target audience is and how you can approach them. So where are we now? You set your target group, you look at the listening behavior. What you see in Spotify, for example, is that a lot of music gets listened through by playlists, which is great. But if we then go to Spotify and say, well, we have a big success, and they say, well, that's because of all of the playlists that you got added to, which is sort of our doing, then that's not a really good story. It is a good story, if we see that the artist has a lot of fans, so that fans actually go to their profile and look for their music, because you see there's a certain appetite for an artist and for a certain release. So that's a big difference. And always learn from what you're doing. Don't run in the same cycle, and adjust your strategy along the way. Set goals and targets. We have campaign goals and we have creative goals. An example, I want to release at least 100 million plus singles this year, which is a campaign goal. And a creative goal is I want to work together with Martin Garrix, to name someone.
Are smaller goals also like normal, or is it like 100 million? Because it's pretty a lot.
Million plus.
All right.
No, definitely
No,
not.
it's a lot. 100 million is a lot.
It's a lot, and that's definitely not for everyone. Like I said at the beginning, that's the reason why we set certain goals, because it can also be a social media hit. It can also be a Beatport hit. It doesn't matter. But a lot of artists obviously want to reach for the stars. So do we. So that is a benchmark. But then I'm talking in the likes of like Lumix or Cashmere or Chesto. You know, names like that are able to make those numbers.
So they have to be like realistic goals? Or?
100%.
All right.
100%.
All right.
And I mean, we can be ambitious though. I mean, it would be a shame if we say you will always stick to that 10 million. Why did you sign with us? You know, in the end, we want to reach for the stars and we want to create global superstars. But you need to build it up and you need to set strategies for 1 year, for 3 years, for 5 years, and work further from that. Again, if there are any questions, feel free, because I intend to talk a lot and I just keep going.
Yeah, that's why I asked.
Feel free. So long term versus short term, I want to grow my Instagram account within the next 3 months, but also I want to be the #1 DJ of the world, which is absolutely amazing, but that will not happen within 3 months. So that's definitely a long-term goal. So brand building for an artist, obviously super important. I think it's very crucial that you drive consistency and streamline your visual assets so people recognize you and people actually know what you stand for. And your music video, your artwork, and everything in between needs to align with that. And that goes hand in hand with your corporate identity, is what we call it. Set your artist DNA, like who are you? What is your USP? What makes you different from the rest? And I think for a lot of artists, that's very hard to say that top of mind, and we try to help them with them, but it is super important because again, you need to stand out. Make use of the right social media. There is just so much going on right now, and there are so many platforms, and you need to make sure that you focus on the platform that you're actually comfortable with and that it comes across authentic, because once it's fake, nobody will buy it and you will not see your numbers grow. It needs to have like a natural flow. Once you fake it, you're lost. So if you feel like you're good in TikTok, please focus on TikTok. If you feel like not really, then please focus on YouTube Shorts or on a channel. It's totally fine. We can find different ways to penetrate TikTok if you don't like it. The quality of the content, I mean, I think it's debatable, but at least it needs to be in line of who you are. I think that's most important. So high quality, it's maybe not the right word, because it can also be like you being backstage and shooting something really funny, which can go viral. It doesn't really matter as long as it engages with you as an artist. Identify opportunities outside of the music ecosystem. I will talk about that later a little bit as well. Look for partnerships and build your live profile. If you're a DJ, live is important. You need to be out there. You can start in your local club, build your way up, that's fine, but do it. That's 100% crucial. I won't take too much time on this. Again, like I said, it should be aligned. It's a campaign, not a checklist. So always try to come up with that custom-made approach and not sort of tick the boxes and think that's your marketing plan. It's not. You need to always create something different around every release. Again, which aligns with your corporate identity and with your brand, but it needs to be something new every time. You need to have something to tell. And conquer territory by territory. And a timeline, I think it's super important. A lot of people just sort of like blast it out there, which is great, but when are you going to do what? And when are we going to post what? Because you need to make sure, again, that it is a campaign and not a checklist. So if we talk about marketing, there are loads and loads of opportunities, and it can get expensive very, very quickly. But you can definitely have impact with small budgets as long as you set your targeting right. And then I sort of refer back to what I said at the beginning, know your target audience, because then you can deliver the proper settings, and then you can make use of your money in the right way. Promo, social media, TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Short, you name it. I mean, you all know it. Make sure that you have a continuous flow of content, not only post when you have something to sell. I think that's the worst thing that you can do as an artist. So always make sure that you're in the picture. And again, it can be literally everything. You being at home, you cooking, you being at a festival. It doesn't really matter as long as you show who you are. And not just go online once you have, hey, I have a new release, buy it, stream it, whatever. It doesn't work like that. It's just not engaging. And that's the most important thing, that you engage with your audience, respond to them once they send you a DM or make a comment on one of your posts. You know, be that sort of approachable artist, especially at the beginning. I can imagine that Chesto is now like not really responding to all of his DMs, but if you're just getting started, then it's super, super cool for a fan to actually be able to talk to you because you're approachable. So that's a huge plus. Radio and press. Once you're at the label, that's an easy one. If not, there are still possibilities to hire local press promoters, local radio promoters. It's just costing a lot of money. So that's something that you can consider. The DSPs, I think most important is that you make sure that your profile is up to date. You want to come across as a professional and not as a fake profile. So make sure that you have that verified artist tag, that you have like the blue little thingy, that your biography is up to date, that your press picture is actually good and new and not a picture when you were like 15 and now you're 40. That's awkward.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, sorry, Peter.
Sorry.
Tip for you.
Yeah, it's mine. Yeah.
At your tour dates, at your latest release as an artist shows, there's all these little sort of things that you can do that actually make a difference. And the same goes for the available tools. There are so many things you can do within the various platforms besides just uploading your track. You can deliver a DJ mix. You can go live on YouTube. You can go live on Twitch. You can deliver a special version for Apple Music, for example. All things that make the difference towards a portal. And again, that makes you stand out from the rest. Your pitch is absolutely key. I think a lot of people sort of say, it's a banger and it's just such a cool track. And Spotify is like, well, we have a lot of bangers coming in this week, so what's the difference? So again, make sure that you have that USP that we talked about earlier and that D&E sort of like cycling through. I think that's super important. And don't forget platforms like SoundCloud and Beatport. Even though they don't make the big numbers, they are absolutely amazing to get discovered. Probably even easier than Spotify, especially SoundCloud is really on the rise at the moment. And it's, I wouldn't say easy, but it's easier to create your own little fan base on there, especially if you're a DJ, because a lot of the dance community goes there. Just a little tip. YouTube, again, loads of possibilities. There is no need to deliver like a super expensive official music video. We literally upload videos that don't even cost like 500 euros. It's possible. Lyric videos, you can work with influential channels to get your music out there. You can do playlist campaigns and again, make use of those tools. You can do a premiere, you can do a live stream, you can make sure that you have a little end card at the end of your video that refers back to the rest of your tracks. It's called hygiene, that's what we call it, but it's again super important to make sure that you cover that foundation and that base. Think outside of music. I think especially dance music has a lot of similarities in target audience with sports. I mean, I wouldn't know, I don't do sports, but a lot of people go to the gym and they actually play our music there a lot. Gaming, Web3, sings, there are loads and loads of opportunities. And I have a quick video about a super cool sync that we've done with a track that went viral on social media. In the end, we got it in a Burger King commercial. So that's how fast it can go.
The quarter-pound king in the 2 for $6, only at BK.
Yeah, it works. How does it work in practice? So, a little example. I don't think I have that much time left, so I will walk you through it quite quickly. Ombos, Move Your Body, that's one of the tracks that was also in the intro video. We saw it as just a regular club track. Super cool club track, but I can be honest, we didn't expect it to be this big. We made a little TikTok and we sourced that onto our own TikTok channel, like the Spinnin Records TikTok channel, and that went absolutely viral. So it took off, and then we got more and more partners on board, we got more and more support across the globe, we adjusted our marketing. I'm telling you like the really quick story now, because otherwise I will stand here for hours. But now, a few months later, we are at 425 million streams for an artist that nobody knew before, because of the fact that we seeded that little video on our own little TikTok channel. So it can happen, that's for sure. Yeah, short form video made the difference. And I will show you the little video. That was it. The campaign takeaways, timing, key, absolutely. The assets, we need to make sure that we have that continuous flow of content pulling through. We needed to adjust the marketing along the way. We need to make sure that all of our partners were aware of what's happening. Again, talking to them, that little piece of reporting was super important. And in the end, we reached for the stars, and we are close to almost 500 million. We will definitely reach that. That's it.
All right.
It was within the time, right?
Wow. I didn't expect you to be on time, so I was like waiting.
Thank you.
Good job, good job. I have a small question, because in your presentation it looks like amazing, but I cannot see anywhere. Can an artist be involved in a marketing plan, or is it like just spinning?
No, 100%. It needs to be a collaboration between two parties. It would be super weird if Spinnin was the ones who was saying to the artist, you need to do this or you need to do that. It will not work, because then you will lose that authenticity that I talked about earlier. So it's definitely a two-way.
So it's a two-way situation.
Yeah, I just think that a lot of artists are very focused on the musical side of things. Mm-hmm. So we want to help them and take the lead where possible. But if an artist has a great idea, absolutely amazing. We only encourage that.
All right. And then my second question is, do you influence the music as well? Or is like, you're not going to say, okay, you're an artist, you have to make a radio hit now, or a club hit now, or you don't give any, like, you're not influencing his creative process?
That's a good question, Peter. No, it kind of depends on the goals that we have set at the beginning, I reckon. I mean, if an artist wants to be in that 100 million range, great, but if you then keep delivering club tracks, then it will be quite a challenge. Yeah. So if that's your goal, then we will try to get them onto the more commercial side of things, so to say, to actually reach that goal. Mm-hmm. That's in the end what it's about, right? Yeah. Reaching your goals.
Yeah. So if I understand it well, it's like a complete process between artists and the marketing side of a label.
Yeah, and again, also not really the marketing side. It's between all
Everything,
the
yeah.
departments within Spinnin. I mean, Leslie's department, who is our head of creative, is a super important asset, and Steven and his team is the same. So it all needs to be intertwined and aligned.
Nice. Any questions from you guys?
I feel like a teacher.
All right. Hey, oh, yeah, you got it.
Hi, thanks a lot for your session. So I had two questions. One of them was related to the characteristics that you mentioned of your target audience, so them being mainly the younger generations. Also related to the last track that you showed. So most of them, they basically make something viral if it comes on a short video, right? Like on TikTok videos. Does that affect the tracks that you sign nowadays? So for instance, would you sign a track that maybe it's a bit average, but it has like a mind-blowing drop because that might be successful? Okay.
Well, that's a good answer.
Yeah, I mean, it would be amazing if we can always deliver high quality. But if for some reason a record is connecting on social media, then that can also be a reason to get signed. Yeah.
All right.
And my other question was about something that you mentioned at the beginning, that you always make sure that there's a story to tell.
Yeah.
Do you have an example of a story to tell for a new artist?
I mean, it really depends on the artist and how far the artist wants to go. We usually intend to look at, for example, the title of the track. So we now have a track coming up called Rock Your Body. So we think about fitness, we think about summer, going to the beach, and we try to create something around that. But it can also be, I don't know, an artist having a great story. We just signed an act called Vespros, who are huge on TikTok, but they are actually refugees from Iran. So that's like an amazing story to tell. They were literally like in a war zone and they escaped, and now they went to Europe and to the Netherlands, and they wanted to sort of be a big example for the people who are still there and sort of show that everything is possible. That's one of the best stories that you can get, and it's not made up, it's real.
Great. Any more questions from you guys? Can you stand up? I'm going to throw it to you. Oh, yeah, go.
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned that you do like a lot of customer research or market research for your artists. So can you open that up a bit, at how it works like in the electronic music industry, and maybe you have some tips on how people like us can make use of it? I don't know if it's boring.
I mean, we are a record label, so we have access to literally shitloads of data. So it's almost impossible to not drown in it. So we have a data analyst who sort of filters everything out for us as a marketing department, what actually moves the needle. But it starts with the target audience, I would say. So where is your fan base? How does it look like? Are they actually fans, or are they just fans of your music, or are they fans of you as a brand? Male, female, age, but also their listening behavior. Do they intend to listen through Spotify or Apple Music, or is it short form video where it's happening? There's just so much that you can do, and for us as a marketing department, it's the big goal to sort of connect those dots and adjust our marketing strategy along the way. I'm not able to show you any sort of dashboards that we have because it's very confidential, but there is a lot. Literally everything you can think of is to be fun. It's almost scary, seriously.
So I'm too old for this.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Wait.
thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of her presentation. The Vice President of Marketing at Spinnin Records.